And welcome to Steady Droppin Dimes, brought to you by Underground Printing, an Ann Arbor original since 2001. I'm Josh Newkirk. Unfortunately, I'm filling in for Sam Webb this week as he's dealing with some family issues. All prayers and thoughts to you, Sam. You're like a brother to me, and we're wishing you well as you go through that tough time. We got our two regulars on the show. I'm just filling in. Let's go to our quarterback of the show, Devin Gardner. Devin, thanks for coming back, and hopefully you can take me on your wing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just a football quarterback. You know, we got the basketball quarterback over there. You know, I'm the football version of the quarterback, calling the shot. This is my time to shine. It's football season. So, when basketball season, we talk about basketball, I just get in the comments and let Daniel do his thing. And now it's my time. And I'm so happy that Daniel has to feel how I feel when they start talking about basketball. But Dusty May is coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Well, of course, that's Daniel Horton, our resident point guard. So we got our point guard and our quarterback in the house. Let's just jump right in, guys. Obviously, it is a big win over the weekend for Michigan. They got the beat USC. It's a two battles of the Blue Bloods. They got it done. It was the rushing attack that got it done in the end. The big run by Kalel Mullings, and then got the 1-yard touchdown run. But only 32 yards passing from Alex Orji in his first career start. So obviously a win's a win. You're going to take it. But you have to say there's a lot more to chew off, right, as we go through the season. You got Minnesota on the horizon. I'm going to give this first question to you, Devin. What else are you expecting from Orji? What is the ceiling sort of for his development? What do you want to see coming into this next game, the next steps, the maturation as he develops his passing game? Because obviously 32 yards per game isn't going to get it done in the long run if they're going to try to contend for a Big Ten championship.
Yeah, firstly, kudos to the coaching staff for getting it right? Not being fully committed and Dan, you heard me talk about, I'm sure, on Monday Morning Quarterback. I was terrified that they were fully committed to being right rather than getting it right. And they showed that the winning is the most important thing, because that was in question for me. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, it was in question of like, I called it irresponsible to not give both these guys a chance to see what they can do, to see who's the best quarterback for your team. And that causes me to think, is winning the most important thing, or is it more important to do it your way? Right? Because that's a big difference. Is it more important to win, or is it more important to win your way? Right? And it started to feel like, hey, they want to pass the ball. They want to have 50-50 run pass. And that's not the recipe for success for this team. And the fact that they made that decision and roll with it, I was super excited to see, and I'm sure a bunch of fans were excited to see. The one thing fans weren't excited to see was the 32 yards passing that you kind of suggested. And on Monday Morning Quarterback, I kind of outlined that wasn't because of Orji, right? That's because of the game plan and the way they went about how they were going to play. I would have loved to see him get more dropback passes. And the stat that I found after watching the film was, of the 22 first downs that they had, 19 of them were runs. That's unrealistic, and you can't play like that. Even if you do throw for 150 or 250 or whatever the case may be, on first down, you can't be so predictable, because what that's going to do is it's going to lead you to second and longs, and then the worst thing of it is third and longs, right? You get in third and long, and you make Orji a pure drop back passer. That's a problem, not only for a quarterback like Orji, for any quarterback. Anytime the defensive line and the defensive backfield knows that you're passing, it's not conducive to your success, period. I don't care how good a pass you are or whatever. Now, there are some guys that can up and overcome that. And when you have an offensive line that's good enough, they can overcome the pass rushers that are talented getting on the edge. But Michigan's not built that way, right? So it's not an Orji thing that's bad. That's a quarterback thing. You do not want to have predictability on first down where you're not gaining yards and you eventually lead to a third and long, right? And that's what we saw. We saw in the first half, USC couldn't really deal with what Michigan was doing. They couldn't deal with it in the run game, and so I love it. Don't throw the ball, right? Win the football game. You got a young quarterback who obviously has been in the program for some time, but as a quarterback on that stage, he's young, and he hasn't had the necessary reps to get into drop back pass game and throw all the downfield passes that you want to see. The one thing that I think was clearly debunked is Alex Orji can't throw. Debunked. That's stupid. Whoever started is stupid, and they were so wrong, wronger than anything I've ever seen. They have no idea, and we can't trust them. They can't be trusted. Whoever started that, they can't be trusted because he can throw. Now, the one thing that he has to improve on, and this is not just him, many quarterbacks around the country, is his ability to pass, right? Huge difference. Being able to throw, right? There are some receivers that can throw, right? There are guys that play high school quarterback and move positions to linebacker that can throw. But being a passer is an art, and that's something that he's going to continue to develop. I'm just telling you, 32 yards passing is not going to get it done, and 32 yards passing is not what they're going to have, right? They spoon-fed him some things, right? They had a throw where it would have been to Colson Loveland, right? Where there's going to be separation. The receivers are going to have to get more separation, and they're going to have to find easy throws for him to get comfortable. And there are plenty of examples out there. Everybody's looking and seeing what the Steelers are doing with Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields as a passer, we thought he was a really good passer, but in Chicago, he wasn't very good, right? He improved, and the Steelers, for the first game, spoon-fed, here's this. How'd you do with that? Oh, you did well. Okay, moving forward, spoon-fed. And then by this last game, he is the reason why they're winning the football game. And same thing with Malik Willis. Comes from a different team, doesn't even hardly know the offense. Okay, spoon-feed. Oh, next game, now you're part of the reason why you're winning. And so those examples are out there, but you have to do the work, right? As the coordinator and obviously Sharon, the head coach, you have to do the work to find how you're going to call offense, because you went through a whole camp essentially building an offense for 50-50 pass, right? For a drop back passer. And that's not what you have right now. So I'm excited for his development. And the one thing I can tell you for a fact, he will not be successful because of his own work, because he is a guy that puts in the work. And you can see being able to handle that stage against USC, only time you play in the regular season aside, and you only play him in the Rose Bowl characteristically. New to the Big Ten, CBS has the big crew there. All the pageantry, the striped stadium, everybody has their eyes on you as a defending national champion, and this is your first time playing quarterback. I think he gets an A+ on the way he handled it. Only time in the passing game I saw where he made a clear mistake was he didn't recognize middle open. He got a little antsy, and I actually learned after watching the film, he had a hitch on the outside. So his footwork wasn't bad because he just didn't use his footwork. His footwork was bad because he hasn't had the reps, right? So he has a hitch on the outside, and on the inside, you have a bender into the middle, which is the perfect call versus middle open defense. Well, on the outside, it's cover 2, and the hitch converts to a go. So he didn't recognize rotation quick enough, and so he caught the ball looking to throw a quick hitch, right? So you don't take a drop when you throw a quick hitch, and now your clock starts because you're antsy because he went down and he just stayed on it instead of moving to his next read. And that's going to continue to develop with the maturation process, right? That's something that you don't expect from a young guy, right? You see, it's like you just want to get that ball out of your hand. But the more reps he gets, the more time you rep things in practice, he's going to be so much better. And I'm really excited to see what this offense can become with him at quarterback.
Also, if you add his ability to run the football.
Oh, that goes without saying. We've hammered that. I mean, that goes without saying. We've hammered that over and over again, that obviously his running ability made a lot of those big runs happen.
Yeah, I had that exact play that you just broke down, Devin. I just did the film study with Al Borges literally an hour ago, and he talked about.
He said the same thing.
Yeah, he didn't have the hitch, so you added that. He said it was all goes, and then you would do the bend in the middle, and we both noticed, that the guy wide open on the inside. So he was there. Yeah. That's just something that you hope that he's going to see in the maturation of him just getting the reps.
I got to call Borges and tell him the reason he didn't drop is because he thought he was going to throw an easy, quick hitch, and that hitch converted to go. Then it turned to all go all across the field. I'm so glad I saw that and Borges didn't. Oh, God.
that could be a whole show in itself.
I might call him right now live on the show.
Maybe you should.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's and one thing that we hit on in that film study, and I'm sure you've seen it, the thing that Orji does, he sort of gets an assist in that different element when he's running the football where he might not – he brings so much attention to himself, and you saw that in the first half when they were bringing all those guys in the box, and especially in the second half, that it's opening up bigger plays, and you saw that in that first touchdown run by Kalel Mullings where he was able to take it to the house for 50-plus yards.
Yeah, so on the last episode of Droppin Dimes, I said that firstly I said he would play well, nailed it. And then I said that the offensive line will play much better and the defense will play much better because it's a guy they believe in and the numbers are even out and actually you're +1 as an offense. And it's not like the offensive line physically became better, right? When you have a running quarterback, and an assist is the perfect way to describe it, right? You get an assist because your effect can't be seen by the naked eye. But when you watch linebackers who don't flow, right? They don't move where the running back is going because they have to wait and see what the quarterback does. That sets up great angles for the offensive line, right? So you get these offensive linemen who are bigger guys generally, and you get these linebackers that are quick and can shoot gaps and beat those offensive linemen to the punch. Well, when you get them to freeze for a second, now you have winter blocks. You have opportunities and angles for the offensive lineman to get on them. And that's why you have those big runs, right? Because we know all of our running backs, if they get on safeties, it's going to be an issue, right? If they get on the safety, it's going to be an issue, right? So the issue is getting through that front line and then getting through the second level, and then you can have those big plays. Now, in the second half, they kind of hunkered down a little more. The defense did. Put more guys in the box. Oh, you're not going to pass. That's what I said. You're not going to pass? Okay. We're going to make sure that we stop the run game. And that's why the passing game has to develop. And I trusted it will. I trusted it will. Moving the launch point, making sure that you're not just having them drop straight back behind the center. And it doesn't have to be naked throw on the run every time. Just move the launch point. Just move them over to the right, half roll, different things like that to allow the defense to see something different and allow him to get better vision down the field. And I think that is going to help tremendously.
After the ending of the game last week, the way it ended, I guess, with Kalel Mullings, with one of the most legendary runs I've ever seen.
Very legendary.
Marshawn Lynch.
Beast mode.
I'm hearing Boomer, I'm hearing, beast mode. I mean, it's very reminiscent to have that big run and then to cap it off with the 4th down touchdown run.
Yeah.
I mean, to see his maturation, and I watched Monday morning. I've seen you, Devin. I know he's your boy.
I've been on him. That's right. My guy.
To see his maturation, right? Yeah. I mean, I remember seeing him in high school, and he was a running back recruit, but everyone's looking at him play linebacker.
Yeah.
To see him come in late in 2022, sort of, he had that.
He blind as a bat. Let's tell the truth.
Right.
He was blind as a bat.
Right. Sort of a lost. He was lost out there, right? Yeah, everyone saw it, and to see his maturation from where he is now to 16, 17 games later, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To be, he might have, you have to say, he might be the bell cow. He said that. Sharon Moore said that in the post game. Is he the number one back? He is. And so is he?
Right. So after week one, I said, Kalel Mullings, these were my takeaways. Kalel Mullings, first of all, Colson Loveland is a monster, right? That was the number one thing. Like, he's improved even from where he was a year ago. He was super talented a year ago. He's taking the next step. Amazing. My next point, Kalel Mullings is the number one running back and should be treated as such. And Donovan Edwards should have the same role that he had a season ago. Well, both of the last 2 seasons. And I think you're exactly right. The maturation, right? For me to go from you're blind as a bat, you should not be playing running back, to he's a pro, right? He's a pro running back. And that's only in a couple years. And it just always takes me back to, and this is outside of football, what you can be in a year, how your life can change, right? I'm telling you, there are scouts walking into that building all the time now, like, hey, that running back, the guy, the 20, Kalel Mullings, let's talk to him. What is he like? They want to find out about him because he did the work. And this kind of goes back to Orji of doing the work. And he's not a person that's afraid of doing the work. If you do the work at home, in your job, with your business, if you do the work, I'm telling you, man, you get an opportunity and good things will happen. Now you have to take advantage of those opportunities. And Kalel Mullings has done that. So impressed to watch him and kind of, I told this man he was terrible. I said, man, you are so bad, but you are so good now. And the way he took it was so you was right. And then I put in the work. You don't have to stay bad because you're bad, right? Just because you're terrible doesn't mean you have to stay terrible. Just because you're not smart doesn't mean you have to stay not smart. You can improve in all different areas. And he's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, to see his ability, not only just the the hard nose running, but you're seeing him do jump cuts, spin moves. He's adding everything.
Patience, waiting, setting up blocks, waiting for the hole to go, shooting, cutting back on those kind of inside zone runs. It's really cool. And Daniel, I want to ask you this. So watching the game, like you're not trying to study the game, study football. You're just watching it as a general fan, having fun watching, and you know sport. What was your takeaway from not only Orji but Kalel Mullings? Like all the stuff we're saying, because you see it clearly, or is it like, oh, let me just take another look and understand that?
So watching it, just from my experience, just like you said, playing sports, Pop's coaching football for 20 years, that's a big time win. Like, because being around football my whole life, being around coaches here, how they want to establish the line of scrimmage, be physical, all the things your coaches talk about, that's a beautiful win, right? But as a fan, like we're sitting back like is this going to work every week? Is this going to work when we play certain teams? And and the thing is, like, I know some people say it won't, but it can, right? Like you just have to, from week to week, if you game plan well enough, and guys come ready to play and you establish that physicality, man, that's hard to deal with. I don't care who you are, right? Yeah. Lincoln Riley had 2 weeks to prepare for that game. And look what the defense did, right? So I think people underestimate, with, like you said, Orji's his mindset. He wants to get better. He wants to be great. He wants to be special. So if the coaches give him the tools and the proper environment to do that, we should see good things as Michigan fans. But just watching the game Saturday, man, that was impressive. I don't care how many yards he threw for. I don't care what that was to say a lot of people in Michigan's on our side left that team for dead a little bit after what they saw the first 3 weeks. That was a very impressive win. So, hey, man, if they continue to play like that, they're going to do good things.
Yeah, I think it's up to the coaches, right? Just like you talked about, if they give him the necessary tools, I think he'll be just fine, right? Devise a plan that he can be successful in, and I think we're going to see these small leaps every single, maybe even drive, right? Not just in game, not just every game, every drive, every quarter, we're going to see just improvement. Like, oh man, he's improving there. Oh, he's improving there. Oh, look at that. And I think the receivers are going to play even more inspired now, right? They're going to play a lot more inspired because they know, firstly, their opportunities may be limited, right? Just because you're a running football team. So you need to make those plays. And if you make those plays, you get more as well, right? So I'm really excited to see how this offense continues to take shape. And that defense, man, I mean, unbelievable.
And that's one thing I saw, like having played team sports before, right? You can kind of see how certain guys respond to the rest of the guys on the team respond to certain people on the team, right? Yeah. Like when one guy walks in the locker room, and he's in a happy mood and a good mood, everybody's good, right? And so it seems like with Orji, they kind of respond to him. Like when he does well, like when he led him to the first touchdown drive and was excited, like everybody was around him. He didn't even score a touchdown. I think Kalel Mullings broke the first touchdown, right? And when they show cut to the sideline scene, like he was getting a lot of love and a lot of like, hey man, you led us to that's big for. Not saying Davis Warren didn't receive that as well, but it just seems like they respond differently to Orji. So
the one coaching point I would give Orji, protect yourself more.
Yes.
Right. That first game, I get it. You got to make sure everybody knows you're here, put your stamp on the game, all that. He's got to protect himself more. Right. I'm not saying he slides down or anything like that, but some of the extra hits that he takes, he doesn't have to. Right. So, and that's that also comes that's a skill. That's an art of knowing when to get down, when enough is enough. So he's going to have to continue to learn that as he continues to play. Remember, that's the first time that he played 5 plays in a row. The first time ever. Right. The first time he's played 5 plays in a row where he was getting tackled and making decisions and different things like that. So excuse me. So I'm excited for it.
And it came against him.
Learn not to mess with that sideline. You better get out of bounds.
Please get out of bounds.
Yeah, impressive win against, I think, still a team that might end up making the playoffs.
They may not lose another game.
Yeah, we'll get to our Big Ten power rankings here later in the show, but their schedule lines up for them. I want to still, switch it over to the defensive side of the football. We mentioned that, hey, great performance all around. It was a team win. You had big plays from big-time players throughout that game through the Michigan defense. They got a little tired there in the third quarter, but they still came away with the win. But is there still concerns? Is there any concerns about some of the big plays they gave up to Miller Moss in that passing attack of USC, or is this just a matter of they were just tired, or is there concerns there? Right?
Well, I don't think it's tired. I think it's a talented offense, a talented quarterback threw the ball 50 times.
Right.
He's gonna have some completion. You know what I mean? He's gonna do something good, right? And they got talented running backs as well. I'm telling you, that offense is one of the best offenses in the country. That quarterback is one of the better passing quarterbacks in the country. And what they were able to do is super impressive, in my opinion. Remember, we watched this team play LSU. We watched them, and they didn't have anything for USC. USC's offense went up and down the field on LSU, and everybody respects LSU as a good football team, a good defense, strong, big up front SEC. You know, everybody loves the SEC, and they dominated them. And then they come to Ann Arbor, and Michigan basically dominates them by not even throwing the ball on offense because the defense was so dominant. I was very impressed with what they were able to do as far as putting pressure on the quarterback. And the quarterback, he has to get his credit. He did well with that pressure. However, when you put that much pressure on the quarterback, it's a recipe for success every single time. He threw 50-something passes and didn't get to 300 yards. That is special by the defense, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, I felt like he was on the ground 80% of his dropbacks. I mean, and you've been in some tough games, Devin, and you know what that's like. You've been in me. I know, Michigan State. I mean,
and I can tell you from experience, that is not fun at all. No. I'm just telling you, it don't feel good. And it takes a special human to keep getting up, keep standing in there, making throws. But I'm just telling you, your throw's not going to be as sharp. You're not going to be as on time. You're going to throw maybe a little early from time to time. It's just you're human, right? And so for him to continue to try to respond was super impressive. But for them to keep the pressure on was even more impressive to me.
Now, so now looking ahead to this Minnesota game, I'm just going to ask sort of a fun thing. Did you played in some rivalry games? The Little Brown Jug, was it really would they tell you how important it was to play in that game? What was sort of your take on playing in that game and playing for that trophy?
I think it's super important, right? One of the best trophies in college football. It's a rivalry, but as players, we look at the film, and you can say whatever you want. Like, I remember we were about to play Appalachian State, and because of what happened with Lloyd Carr a long time ago, they were like trying to scare us into submission. Like, hey, these guys are, and we're looking at the film like, no, they're not. We're going to beat them by 65. Like, there's no chance of them being anywhere near us in this game. And that's kind of how it was for Minnesota. Like, every time we look at their film, it's just like, they're still running this cover 4. Safeties are low, going to throw the ball over their head. Even when they're in cover 4 with the safeties helping them run, they still don't stop the run very well. On offense, I don't know what the defense was seeing, but I'm sure it was a lot of the same. And it was just never a real worry. The only time it kind of was a worry a little bit was my first start ever, right? It was my first start ever on the road at Minnesota at quarterback. And, going into the game, the night before we went to go throw at the stadium. Nighttime in Minnesota, late November. Freezing. And when I tell you I couldn't even grip the ball. And so I'm so nervous, so scared. It didn't register to me that we'd be playing during the day. Sun would be out. It would be much warmer. And so I'm terrified. And so now all the things they do on defense seem a lot more extravagant, right? Then you get in the game and it's like, oh, never mind. It's actually warmer. You're actually the same defense that I saw before, and we're about to light you up, right? So I think that is something that maybe I haven't watched Minnesota this year just yet. So, I mean, I'm not sure if they still look the same. I imagine that they are similar because Michigan and Iowa combined for 94 passing yards, and both teams won. So, and Iowa won even more convincingly against Minnesota. So, I don't know what they are this year, but I imagine they are a lot of what they've usually been, right? Solid, but nothing to write home about, and a great opportunity for Orji to get live reps against a real team and take those leaps that I talk about.
I want to stick
now,
to
for me.
I'm
sorry. For me, I just from a fan's perspective, I remember when I first got to Michigan, and Minnesota had some of those teams. I remember we went to Minnesota, and was it John Navarre and Chris Perry? They scored like 28 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of saw. Like, okay, this game kind of means something to those guys. Like they went into that quarter down 21 points and rallied. And then I remember Lawrence Maroney and all those guys from Minnesota. So now it's been in my time watching the rivalry, it's been some really good games. So hopefully it's a good game, but we win this weekend.
And I hope it's not a good game. I hope they demolish it. Please don't be a good game. Only time I hope it's a good game is if I'm calling the game. We need a good game. Come on. Let's keep it close. Let's keep it close. But if I'm not calling the game, destroy them. Yes.
Destroy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, a good game means we win by 3 touchdowns. That's what
Yeah.
You know what? I think there's a good chance. I do think Michigan has a big game this week. Three score win. I'm there. I think 38-10 is where I'm going.
Yeah.
You want to stick to college football? I know we mentioned some going to the Big Ten power rankings, but I did want to go to there's some big games around the country. We got Alabama and Georgia this weekend, the biggest game in the country. Prime time, 7:30 in Tuscaloosa. Man, I mean, Michigan's obviously played a couple of these teams.
No. Time out. That's the biggest game in the country on Saturday. That's the biggest game. I have Washington Rutgers. That's the biggest game in the country on Friday for sure. Just put that out
All
there.
right, corrected by Devin. Corrected by Devin.
On Saturday, that is the biggest game in the country. That's the biggest game in the country.
100%. You're right. You're correct. I got you there. And we will get to your game. To your game. Okay, so thoughts on that game?
For it, man. I can't wait. That's like watching. It's gonna be like watching an NFL game, honestly, right?
Yeah.
And you saw with Jalen Milroe, his maturation, how he continues to develop, not only as a passer but as a runner as well. He was already a good runner, but he continues to get better, and his running ability continues to open up for his passing ability. And I honestly thought that's what Orji could become, right? If he could become, honestly, a poor man's Jalen Milroe, I think that we would be just fine.
Great
and if he can take all of it, I mean, that'd be great. But I've loved watching because he had some adversity that was super unfair, and he did not complain. He did not blame. He just got it done, man. And he continues developing. We saw what he did to Wisconsin, right? They completely demolished Wisconsin. It wasn't even close. And I think Wisconsin, not a great team, but I think they're a good team, especially defensively. They're a lot better than they've been. And then Georgia, I mean, just a juggernaut, right? Kirby Smart, what he's been able to do, not only this year, but all through the years of not really losing games. And the only time he does lose against Alabama. But we got to change that because it's against Nick Saban, not necessarily against Alabama, right? It's against Nick Saban that he loses. And so I'm really interested to see, can he get it done against Alabama without Nick Saban? Can Jalen Milroe continue to play lights out the way he's playing? The young freshman, I can't think of his name right now, the freshman wide receiver who's 17 years old.
Oh, Ryan Williams? Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud.
A monster. 17. Mm-hmm. What in a world where all the kids are getting held back to be 20-year-old freshman, he's too early, right? He's supposed to be a senior in high school right now. So I'm really excited to see that game, and it makes it so much better that I have the game on Friday because now I got nothing to do, baby. I'm just watching. I'm not traveling. I'm just watching football all Saturday. Let's go.
Hey, I hope the weather.
You on Saturday, Daniel?
Man, it's supposed to be a hurricane coming through here.
I'm not gonna be you on Saturday, Daniel.
That's why. Hey, I'm hoping the game. The games is being played because I know it's supposed to be a hurricane coming through Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we'll see.
God loves us. God loves football. He wouldn't do that. He gonna hold it.
Daniel, how much do you love big games like this? Georgia, Alabama.
Now I spend my whole Saturday. I have my office set up where I have like 3-4 monitors going. I have all the games going.
Oh yeah,
little flex.
I'm just glad the game is in Tuscaloosa and not Athens because I live about 25-30 minutes from Athens. It's halfway between Atlanta, and the traffic has to come through my way. So please no.
Atlanta traffic is legendary in itself.
It's garbage is what it is.
It's awful. It's
How
awful.
can anybody live there? Oh
man, it's ridiculous.
I'm just anxious to see how Carson Beck plays for Georgia. He's being touted.
I'm not sold on Carson Beck.
Me neither. And I'm interested to see how, because you're seeing all these NFL draft boards. He's a top 10 pick. I want to see him prove it, right? Let's do it. I don't want you to be in this ball control offense. I want to go see you go out there and win the game, be the stud that everyone says you are, because I haven't seen it. So I want to see it. This is the time. This is the platform to do it. So
I've watched him. He's playing well, but I'm not sold on like just clear cut best guy. Nobody else is an option. I don't see that at all.
I watched the Kentucky game when they went to Kentucky. He didn't look like the number one.
He looked
overall
like just a guy that got really good teammates.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that was really for like one drive. The defense is what's impressive in Athens. So we'll see what they do and see what they do Saturday.
All right. Big question. The big question. We only two best teams in the country right now. Who do you got? Who do you got? If it was right now, it was your national championship. Who are your two teams you got right now?
Texas, Ohio State. Texas, Ohio State right now. As everybody currently speak, I mean, Ohio State's not played anybody, but who they have played, they've done exactly what you expect them to do, right? And you know, Michigan fans will say, "Oh, they haven't played anybody." Hey guys, remember that's what they were saying about us. And then we did play somebody, we destroyed them, right? And so I think that we have to wait and see when they play someone. But for what they're doing against the teams that they're playing, it looks amazing. It looks like they're unstoppable, right? Mm-hmm. And like I talked about many years ago, that's exactly where we want them. That's exactly where we want them. It looks like they can't get any better, right? So if you are not getting better, what are you getting? You're getting worse. Like there's either better or worse.
There's no staying the same.
There is no right here. It's either you're getting better or you're worse, and they look like a team that's not getting any better because they're just so good at the start of the year. And I think that's been their problem for so many years. They're just always hitting the ground running so good. And so they can't improve. Whereas a Michigan, the sky's the limit, man. They are slowly but surely climbing the ladder. Kind of like when you're on the Millennium Force at Cedar Point, right? You know, it's like nice and slow. You're just going all the way to the top. So it's exactly where you would want to be if you're Michigan. They've hit their peak, and there's only down from here. Whereas you know, Michigan has so far they can go, and Texas, I think that they're still improving, right? Yeah, I think that they're still getting better. So I think that I would say they're the best team in the country, and then I would say Ohio State would be the two teams. If you had to pay a national championship right now, those two teams I would have in it.
Daniel, you got two?
Yeah, I would say Texas. And the two other the best teams I've seen so far outside of Texas, probably Tennessee and Miami are the two best teams I've seen so far.
I was going to say Tennessee and Texas.
Yeah, I really like Tennessee. Their offense is explosive. Their defense is really good.
I just don't
Miami has a big time quarterback. And Devin, you know, like I know, like
but he nice.
As the season goes along, you got to have a big time quarterback if you want to play late into the season. So,
man, the Miami quarterback, he has a swagger and a poise about him. He had one play where they had like a reverse screen, a play action, fake play action, fake reverse screen or downfield pass. And he has a free rusher running at him with his back turn. He turns around like so poised, almost looks the guy in the eye and just checks it down to the running back so seamlessly, right? He's playing on another level right now. And I think that's super cool to see because I wasn't sold on him. I did not think he should go to the NFL last year after watching him play. But that was in an air raid system. Now that he's in a system that's not air raid, where he's under center, he's doing different things. He's having the time of his life, and he is playing really, really good football. Much better footwork I've seen from him. And that's another thing. Wow, the whole Beck thing. You're just gonna say he's the guy when you got a guy in Miami playing like that. You got Green Ewers playing like that. You even got Arch Manning playing good. You know what I mean? Shador under siege at every turn, but he is playing well. As much as I don't love all the off-field stuff, he's playing awesome. I don't see how you make Beck the unquestioned guy when he has all the best players around him.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the fact that Texas and Tennessee are, in my opinion, the two top teams right now. And I think what the factor for me, they both went on the road and had big road wins. That's key. Sure. Big time programs do that. They win big games on the road. Michigan was that team last year. And they got the biggest win so far in this early football season. So let's talk. I mentioned the Big Ten power rankings, so let's get there. Let's talk about who are your top 5 Big Ten teams right now. Whoever wants to go first, whoever wants to tackle this first. I got mine written down. I'll go last, but whoever wants to go first on their top 5, go ahead.
Okay. Ohio State.
Okay.
I'm going Ohio State. And Ohio State's one. All the rest of the order is whatever you want to do. Mix them and match them. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Illinois,
Yes.
and Oregon. Yeah, those are my 5. With Ohio State being at the top, everybody else kind of still figuring it out, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I would flip Oregon and Illinois. And to be honest, I can't. Does Illinois play Indiana this year? Because I can't wait to see if Indiana is for real. That's one of the teams I'm looking at. Like, man,
I like that. Yeah,
they are smacking folks, but I don't know if it's I want to see the competition get a little better. So I'm gonna leave Illinois at 5 right now. But I would go with Devin's order: the big 3 with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and then you have Illinois and Oregon. So I'm gonna leave us at 2 for now, but we got to show a little bit more going forward.
I'm probably gonna get some hate comments, but that's okay. I'm gonna go Ohio State 1, Oregon 2, Penn State 3, Michigan 4. But there's a lot of room to grow there, right? Let's see what happens with Orji, but I think they can go. USC 5. I had Illinois maybe right there at 5, but USC, I think in the long run, we talked about this, Devin, I think they're just going to be up there at the end of the season, potentially in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, and that's USC doesn't play Illinois, right? I mean, no. See that, and that's the thing.
The thing for me is Illinois got 2 ranked wins.
Defense. Yeah.
Illinois got 2 ranked wins, and one of them on the road. Really, they got 2 really good wins, and obviously I saw the last one up close and personal. And the way they play football was winning football. It's a winning formula for football. The most important part of their formula, though, to me, is their quarterback, Luke Altmaier. You got to know, an older guy who's seen a lot, who's had adversity, right? He goes one or two ways. He's going to be really, really, really good, Bo Nix, right? Or he's going to be really bad, Uiagalelei, right? Okay. So you've seen a lot of football. It's no really in between. It's either you are really good or you're just not playing good football at all. And he hasn't turned the ball over. That was his big thing. He hasn't turned the ball over. And Michigan fans, when you get a chance to see, I mean, he's going to play Michigan later this year. When I'm watching him play, it really feels like J.J. McCarthy.
Okay. Wow.
His ability to obviously make throws down the field. He got some talented receivers, but his ability to, on third down and different downs, to use his legs to hurt the defense. It was super impressive to watch. So I think he's the difference, and he's the reason I have him in the top 5 instead of USC, just because their defense is playing well. But I think Luke Altmaier, who's seen a lot, is playing his best football in his life.
So what about, let me give you another team to throw in there for that 5th spot. What about Iowa?
No.
Now that
Iowa is not going to trick me again. Iowa is who we think they are. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, they've tricked us over and over again. But fool me once, shame on you. You shouldn't do that. Fool me twice, that's all my fault.
I'm about to say their formula is similar to ours right now.
Yeah, sure.
with the run game, with what's the kid's name? Caleb.
The one thing for Iowa, they don't play anybody, right? Yeah.
Do they ever?
Have a whole bunch of, I don't know why they love Iowa so much, the schedule makers, but they don't play anybody. So they very well could not lose a game. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I would say USC, Illinois, and I want to throw Indiana in there because they've just beat the crap
the more
out of
I think about it,
so far.
The more I think about it, I actually would take Penn State out and put USC in place of them.
Okay.
Right, no particular order. I would take Penn State, make them the 6th team, first team in, and put USC in. Because I think you're right. I don't think they're going to lose another game, honestly. And I think that their offense just came up against the perfect storm of the perfect defense and the perfect plan and I don't think they're going to let that happen again, right? I don't think offensively they're going to let a team dictate how they play again. And I also don't think defensively they're going to allow a team to just run down their throat just like how they did. And their pass defense is pretty good. So I think the USC instead of Penn State, right? So take Penn State out, make them the first one out at number 6, and have USC in instead.
I think Penn State plays Illinois this weekend as well, so we'll find out right away.
So right now, we can get you in and take Illinois out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we got to give them a little love, right? You said 2 ranked wins. You can't beat that. That's
they got the best resume right now. They beat 2 ranked teams, one on the road. And when I tell you the black shirts, the Nebraska Lincoln, it was lit. That's what the kids say. It was lit. I'm talking about the atmosphere was crazy. They were so loud. They got a few penalties because they just couldn't hike the ball. They had some adversity where there were calls that weren't made that didn't go in their favor, that kind of took points off the board and took opportunities off the board, and they responded, right? That's so impressive to go play defense against a good Nebraska team, have some adversity, respond from it, make plays when they're there, and then go finish in overtime. I thought it was great.
Yeah, we've talked about this before the show. We have to. Someone mentioned it in the comments. The UNLV quarterback situation. The guy just left the team. Hey, I didn't get paid. I'm out.
I'm gone.
Your thought? I'm gone. Thoughts on that?
UNLV is not going to the national championship. So you promised me an opportunity. I came to your school in good faith that you were going to pay me this much money or whatever it is. And it's the life we live, right? You can't allow people to do that, because if that's the case, they're going to do it all the time. Oh, yeah, let's tell them we'll pay this and then let's not pay them, right? So UNLV better get it right. They better fix it, because no more transfers are going, period, unless they're going to give all the money up front. They better find a way to fix that and get him back in the building and put that money in his pocket. Whatever you owe him, pay that man, because if you don't, that's the end. It's already hot as hell in Las Vegas. Nobody wants to be in Las Vegas. You're going to be super hot, and you're going to be losing probably. No chance. No chance. So they need to fix that. But if it were me, doing the same thing. What are you doing? You're just going to tell me you're going to pay me this and not even give me half? That's crazy.
I'm right there with you. I'm out.
He was super respectful. Love my teammates. Love everybody. This is a business decision. I'm going to redshirt. I haven't played 4 games, and I'll go play somewhere else next year.
Yeah, it's definitely a business now. If you say, if we agree to something, and I'm holding up my end and you don't hold up your
got
end.
Got him 3-0.
Yeah,
he's definitely holding up. It's crazy.
I got to roll. Man, I'm pretty sure it's everybody. I know I read some stuff say, hey, what type of teammate is he, this and that. I'm pretty sure his teammates understand.
He's a great teammate.
I'm pretty sure his teammates understand.
He's going to be a great teammate to some other teammates. Is what he's going to be.
Right. And they were well aware that he got paid to come there too. So they're very understanding.
And when was the last time UNLV went 3-0? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but probably not, right?
Here's another question. When's the last time we talked about UNLV football? So, I mean, this is probably the best press. Actually, not the greatest.
It's actually the worst. Yeah, it's the
worst. But this one, nobody ever talks about UNLV football. We talk about like Tark and the boys with Larry Johnson and stuff in the early '90s. But UNLV football, no, they're non-existent. So they're gonna have to fix that situation, Devin. I also think that we need to talk about staying on the gridiron, but move to the pro level and talk about our Detroit Lions. Obviously, big game this past week. They got it done on the road, sort of found their identity again, running the football, showing that grit. And you saw some impressive runs. I mean, my favorite play of the game is when Montgomery got carried like a rugby scrum by his teammates to get an extra, 6-7 yards. Yeah. And they held Kyler Murray in check for most of the game and made that Arizona offense struggled. You just got to credit the Lions. They're still not playing to their top level, but they're getting the job done. And going on the road and getting a win out on the West Coast is always impressive to me.
Winning on the road is so difficult to do in any level, especially in the NFL. And they were playing a hot team. Kyler Murray's playing some of his best football, and they were able to get it done. Now, I think it was a mistake. I've said it before, not playing in the preseason. I hope they change that next year. Right? Not playing the whole preseason, but play some, right? Get your feet wet, get back into the groove of things to make sure you can hit the ground running. But for them to not play anybody in the preseason and still be able to be 2-1, I think that's great, especially since they haven't played really good football to this point. I think it's awesome. But, one thing that I've been thinking about, Daniel was so his chest was so far out about his Saints. And then what happened?
and then our best offensive lineman goes down for 8 weeks, the first series of the game.
Hey, one player? Dang.
Yeah. And so we McCoy goes down. We slide our guard to center and bring in some undrafted guy at left guard, and Davis and what's the other dude? The one that really dominated. Other kid from Georgia. What's the other D tackle from Georgia? They both drafted them both in the same year.
Daniel,
y'all in the chat, y'all, what's the guy from the two guys from Georgia, man? They dominated on the inside.
Daniel, just like I won't allow Iowa to trick me.
Not Jordan Davis, the other one.
Just like I won't allow Iowa to trick me. Stop letting the Saints trick
The
you.
one who's been really good since he's been in the league, Jordan Davis.
Stop
just played good.
letting the Saints trick you, Daniel. You're just gonna be stressed out.
All
right, next time we see you, Daniel, you're gonna start losing your hair.
Hey, how many Super Bowls do the Lions have?
Are we really going there?
The Lions got a lot of NFL championships, though.
Yeah, there you go.
How many Super Bowls they got?
Well, none.
All right, then. Well, leave me alone about my Saints. All right. So what I'm saying is, we lost
Jalen Carter,
best,
by the way.
We lost
Jalen Carter.
Best. Yeah, Jalen Carter. He dominated. He completely dominated.
So basically, what you're saying is, for the next 8 weeks, y'all done.
If we don't find a replacement for Eric McCoy, we're gonna be our offensive line was because I told you last year. I told you last week. Our biggest issue the last 2 years hasn't been in defense; it's been our offensive line and our offense. And now we're back to having offensive line issues again. So we'll see.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm praying for you, brother, because I do not want you to be bald. You're too young. You're handsome, man. I can't walk around with your hair. You're going to have to go to Turkey, and you don't know what they're doing over there. And then you're going to have to walk around with a swollen head a little bit because you're trying to, you know what I mean? We don't want you going through that, Daniel. So just temper your expectations.
I have to remind y'all Lions fans, man, they had a couple good years in a row. So I have to bring out, now that we in the ring category now, I have to, because the Cowboy fans used to do that to us, and they still do it to us Saints fans down here. We got 5 Super Bowls. Hey, okay, well, I could do it to the Lions then.
Nice.
Yeah, we can't have anything nice, apparently.
5-1. I don't know if you can do exactly what they were doing to you, but, you know. Hey,
right, it's one. Yeah,
there's a difference. I get where you're coming from.
Ain't one. But they do have a Super Bowl, but I hope they figure it out. I think Derek Carr's playing really good football. So for his sake, I really hope they figure it out.
Yeah, no, he didn't. Devin, I don't know if you saw the game, but once Eric McCoy went down, he spent the rest of the game running for his life.
That's what I'm saying. And we don't want that for Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. He's an upstanding man. And for all I know, what's going on with Diddy, you can't really say too much about anybody you don't actually know. But from what I can see, it looks like he's an upstanding guy, good father, all that. I want him to have success. But if it comes out later on that he's anything like Diddy or anything like that, I retract my previous statement.
Hey, you know who balled out for a former
You got to be careful. Hey, John, you got to be careful these days. You never know. All these people with these tweets back in the day, Diddy's doing so much for the community. They got to delete him now. So man. That by saying, I don't know him personally. If something comes out crazy, I'm just saying from what I see from afar, and I'm cool with being wrong.
Man, there is so many receipts out there.
You said what?
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He played for the Lions for a minute too, right?
Yeah.
He said, after they won, he said they weren't worried about if the Saints were going to come back and if the Saints were going to win because they have Derek Carr. I was like, come on, man.
He always talking crazy. That's technically the MO. That's the MO from Derek Carr's past, but he always talking crazy, man. He is insane.
Are you guys concerned about any of the teams that we expected to be good that are struggling? You got out there the Bengals 0-3.
I'm not a
Niners are 1-2. Any of them?
Niners will be fine.
You think the Niners?
I think the Bengals have real issues.
Yeah, in a tough division too.
You got to think about this, right? You've never seen Joe Burrow without 2 number ones, right? And though he has his 2 number ones, one of them is pissed because he didn't get paid. And the other one is pissed because the other one tried to get paid at the same time and he didn't get paid. Right. So it just feels to me like it's almost going to be self-preservation because now I don't have that guaranteed money. I'm not giving everything. What? They super nice, right? So they're going to be good. They're going to do well. But is it going to be the extra that you need to dig yourself out of a 0-3 hole? I don't think so. I think that Joe Burrow start to press. Right, start to try to make things happen. I think the division, you can see the division when you got Jamar Chase cussing the ref out, getting a flag, contributing to what will be a loss because of it, right? And then Joe Burrow trying to calm him down. He like flinging him off, like, man, get off me. Like, you got paid. That's what it sounded like to me. You got paid and I didn't. So shut up. Don't tell me nothing. You didn't tell him to pay me, so don't talk to me, right? And that kind of division is not because they were thick as thieves, right? Best of friends. And that's why they had so much success from the LSU days. I just think they got real issues. And I was watching ESPN earlier, and they said, what's the coach's name for the Bengals? What's his name?
Oh, man.
Anyway,
It's
every
killing me.
team that's 0-3 has some connection to him. His brother is the coordinator for one of the 0-3 team. I think it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then his former coordinator is the coordinator for the other. It's like, man, Zach Taylor's struggling.
Yep.
His family and his ties are not looking good right now. They have to get a win. 1 of the 3.
Are you guys paying attention to any baseball right now? Obviously, up here in Detroit, the Tigers are in this pennant chase, trying to make the
Tigers.
It's exciting. You haven't. I've been paying attention from afar, right? It says this just to see that number go from 20% to now they're looking at 80% chance to make the playoffs. 28-11 the past 40 or so games. It's just great to see up here. It's okay if you're not been watching, but it's always exciting if it the potential teams.
The real thing is the Pistons. You got to get your together, right? Lions doing their thing. This is a Tigers team that was basically saying we're gonna build for the future, and these young players can play. Right, I know that. Right, they get rid of some stuff, get these young players in. It's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll just build for the future. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, and then boom. We got success, and I think they will make the playoffs. So, Pistons, hello, Red Wings are serviceable, right?
They should make the playoffs this year, I think.
Pistons, what we got going on, man? The whole downtown is booming. What are we doing?
Pistons brought some vets in, man. They might fight for that 7-8 seed.
I'm not trying to hear that. They need to get it done now.
Yeah, I'm gonna prove it. I don't even want to give them a prediction as far as playoffs just yet. I want to see this team gel. Play a little defense for once. It was. I mean, we all go back to the glory days of, when we had Chauncey and Rip and those boys.
Bad boys.
Man, it's hard to believe that was so long ago. Almost 20 years ago now. I mean, it's crazy.
Imagine what Detroit is gonna be if the Pistons get it figured out.
Lit.
Dude, downtown is gonna be crazy. Because Daniel, I'm sure. I don't know if you know it. Like Ford Field, Comerica Park, Little Caesars, like all kitty corner to each other. You can stand on the freeway and see all of them, and it's just like, dude, if y'all get it together, it's gonna be crazy. Now, cost of living, all that stuff, not gonna be great. I'm not happy about that. However, the city is gonna be booming.
I went to a Pistons game. Was it last year, or the year before? Man, that's a nice arena. That's a
very
real
nice arena. They're wasting it. They gotta get it done.
Yeah, just imagine if they're a good team. I mean, it's just gonna be a different environment. I went to the playoff game when they hosted the Bucks. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I mean I think that was the last time they made it. Right, they got swept, and it was lit in there that day, and they were the 8th seed that year. So I can only imagine.
I was like, hey man, does Little Caesars taste different up here than it does?
Dude, Little Caesars. No. Daniel, not just up here. I'm talking about in Little Caesars Arena. The pizza is better than the ones outside. About to say. Like all the Little Caesars on the street taste like the ones down south. The ones in the arena, they putting different stuff in there, man.
I was like, it's Little Caesars.
That pizza good, man. That pizza is good.
Yeah, it does hit different up here. It's just you try to get it down somewhere else, it's just not the same.
Yeah,
it's still good, but it's just it's levels.
Yeah, there is levels to it, right?
Yeah, that was the best thing about going to the game that night. The Pistons got smacked, but
yeah.
Beautiful arena. I think if Cade can take another step forward, they can get those young guys, Jay and Ivy, to take 2 steps forward. I think they suffer from a little bit having a lot of the guys that play kind of the same position, kind of same build. But I think if they can kind of figure out some continuity, I think Tobias Harris will bring some leadership. Tim Hardaway Jr. brings some much needed shooting if he stays healthy. I think they have the pieces in place to kind of start turning the corner a little bit. So we'll see.
You think Cade and Ivy can play together? You think that's what's your thoughts there? I mean, because that seems to be the consensus, 50-50, I feel. Some people feel they can, some people feel they can't.
Well, if they both have high basketball IQs, they'll be able to figure it out. But as ideally, like in a traditional basketball sense, I don't think they can play together. Now, can you come up with some unique formula, a unique situation to where they can thrive and play well together? Sure, but you'll end up having a very guard-heavy, very ball-dominant offense instead of having more balanced setup. So I think it can work, but it's going to require a level of unselfishness and IQ that I don't think either. Well, I won't say IQ, but I know unselfishness. They've both been the guy everywhere they've been since high school. So now they kind of got to put that aside and figure out how to play together. If not, one of them's going to get traded. So it is what it is.
It's going to be interesting how Trajan Langdon starts maneuvering this roster, right? It's his first year. We'll see how it develops this coming year. And if you say they can't work together, ultimately what happens is one person moves, right? When someone's going to leave town, I would assume Cade just got that contract. He's going to be the one that stays.
I'm about to say they've already made that decision if they have to trade one, right?
Right. The writing's on the wall, as they say, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, fellas, we got to pay some bills. Got to pay some bills. Little Golden Limo. Golden Limo has been taking care of us. And Daniel, we got to get back on there, right? We had a great time. Obviously, Sam ruined it being there, but, me and you had a great time on Golden Limo. And, Ben, I think you have that track ready for us. So, in the words of the great two-strap Samuel Jackson Webb III, drop that track.
Drop that track.
If you have ground transportation needs, get to your destination on time, every time with Golden Limo. Their fleet of charter buses, executive sprinters, mid-size vans, party buses, luxury SUVs, and even a trolley, their service and attention to every detail is second to none, and their track record for safety is beyond reproach. Whether you're traveling in Southeast Michigan, throughout the United States, or even abroad, Golden Limo has you covered. And now when you make a reservation with Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket, you'll be supporting Michigan NIL and a great military charity. Golden Limo founder and CEO Sean Duvall has been a great supporter of Michigan NIL, first through his NIL partnership with Will Johnson and his toy drive, and then through Will's Golden Limo NIL ambassadorship. And now in 2024, Sean and Golden Limo are back with an NIL partnership with Zeke Berry. Sean Duvall also comes from a military family and is a passionate supporter of military charities. One of those charities is Freedom River. Freedom River is a comprehensive outdoor recreation center located in Brighton, Michigan that assists in reassimilation of U.S. military service members, veterans, and their families. A portion of your reservation fee will go there, and that's not all. There's one more perk. Once a month, one Golden Ticket reservation will be selected to attend an exclusive party after the season. That party will include Zeke Berry, Samaj Morgan, maybe some other guests. I know it will include the film study crew, Al Borges, Vance Bedford, doing an exclusive film study breakdown in front of the audience that is at that party. It'll have the Droppin Dimes crew with Devin Gardner, Daniel Horton. Maybe it'll include you, but only if you book through Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket once per month. A Golden Ticket reservation will be selected to go to that party with 3 guests, but only if you book your reservation through Golden Limo using the Golden Ticket. All you have to do to book your Golden Ticket reservation is go to goldenlimo.com/Golden Ticket or call their team at 734-668-8282 and mention Golden Ticket to book your transportation reservations today.
All right, and we're back. Golden Limo, got to get it. Looks like we got a few more topics we can hit up, guys. I think maybe have you been paying attention and you've seen in the news about Dan Campbell having to sell his house? It's crazy in today's age that I think it was his daughter's classmate that went on Snapchat and posted the address and all that and started getting random fans showing up. I mean, there's one thing that I like and I'm sure we all do, and that's our privacy, right? So, yeah. I mean, the fact that people would cross that line, cross that barrier, it's sort of sad in a way, right? That we're in today's age, this type of stuff is happening.
The worst part about it, yeah. Oh no, I mean, I don't think it was a friend. The worst part about it is there's no repercussions for the kid,
right?
Like, what do you mean? Like, there's nothing you could like. He didn't get kicked out of something, right? You can't do stuff like that, man. Because he wasn't doing it as like he was doing it maliciously, right? he was doing it to be a little prick. Like that's what he was doing, and he should have consequences for that. But hey, good for Dan Campbell. Go find you a new crib, and the money he already got. I think he already got it sold. So, but that's a terrible thing to have to deal with, where your privacy is just completely invaded. You got your daughter, you got your wife, all these different things, and people just don't care. I do not understand that. And for fans in the chat and everybody, this is why athletes, coaches, celebrities, anybody, that's why they keep fans at arm's reach. That's why, because you're a fanatic and you lose your mind and you forget this is a human being, right? Not to mention a human being that got you to a place that you haven't been since 1991. Let's not forget about that. A human that got you to a place you haven't been since 1991, right? And it's just never enough. And so you go to his house and you do whatever. I mean, just goofy, and there should be repercussions, but there won't be.
Yeah, that's why I think guys of that ilk, whether you make money or whether you're a coach or whatever it is, you should live in a gated or private community. 100%. And I know, and it sucks to say, hey, you should have to do something, but in the times we're living in, where somebody can, if they're really motivated, they can find out where you live, right? Like it's no matter he's moving again, unless he's moving into a gated community, people are still going to be able to find out where he lives and drive past his house and honk and do all the silly stuff people do when they're happy or mad with you. So if I was him, I would look into moving to a nice gated golf course community somewhere in the Detroit area. So it sucks, but you gotta take those precautions, man. That's how people get hurt.
I'm just telling you, Dan Campbell's not the one. If you roll up on him to just
that's what I'm saying. That's how people get hurt.
He gonna ruin his life, his family's life, because he gonna get down on somebody. He gonna at least try,
Yeah,
he's got to be the biggest coach. I mean, I don't remember seeing another coach.
The one from the Titans,
Vrabel.
Yeah, Vrabel's big.
That's always been a conversation. Who would win in a fight, Vrabel or Campbell?
I think Vrabel would get him. Dan Campbell strikes me as like a hardball, like where he just keep getting punched in the face, like more, but he can't really fight. Vrabel, I think, can fight. You know what I mean? I think there's a difference, right? Okay. Just being cool with getting punched and you're so tough, that's great, but you're losing this fight, okay? You need to punch back, and I don't know. I think Vrabel might get him, but you never know. They're both big dudes. It'd be a big clash. It'd be like Scar versus Mufasa.
I'd pay to watch that. That's it. That'd be I mean, let's get
I buy fights that I know gonna be terrible anyway on TV. I buy that.
Yeah, let's call up Dana White. Let's get it going. Yeah. Well, I think we're at the part of the show. I think if you guys are down, we can ask the viewership if they want to ask us any questions.
Yeah, let's get a few questions before I had to go to the airport and head to Piscataway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, we can talk about that matchup. I mean, it is the biggest game in the country.
It's the biggest game in the country, and I want everybody to wait. You got to wait and see. You got to go watch. I'm not going to give you all the stuff, so then you don't go watch, and then our numbers go from 5 million to 300,000. You know what I mean? So, I'm
all right. Fair. All right. Let's see if we got any questions here from the viewership. Guy did mention that Harbaugh did punch Jim Kelly back in the day. So
Harbaugh is like king of telling stories about how he got beat up, but he wasn't scared. It's like, okay.
Manir here says, how many throws does Orji get against Minnesota? GG.
I think he'll throw the ball 15 to 17 times. I think 17 is that perfect number of like gradual improvement, right? 17, and of those 17, I think 7 should be pure drop back or play action, right? Not RPO, spit it out, pure drop back or play action opportunities. And on early downs, first down, second down, and obviously you're gonna have to do some on third down. But I think that 17 is a really good number. And if you can be efficient with 17 throws, I think that the sky's the limit, and they can handle this game fairly easily.
Would efficient for him be anything over 60%? I mean, what is
13 of set? Because you got to count in throwaways, which I hate. Right? You got to count in throwaways. Which in the game that he just played, he was 7 of 12 with 3 or 4 throwaways that are really good throwaways. right? So you want him to throw the ball away, and you don't want him thinking about his completion percentage. If the right play is to throw the ball away, no matter if you haven't completed a pass, throw the ball away. Go 0 for 5 if all 5 times the throwaway was the right play. So yeah, 17 throws, and if it gets to 20, I'm fine with that as well. And give him an opportunity to really develop as a passer on the fly.
Yeah, and then the hinge off the throwaways when you say saying that, because Sharon Moore, number one thing he said about Alex Orji, he protected the football. He didn't. There was no turnovers.
I don't think you let him air it out just because you're up in the fourth quarter. I think you just play football the way you have, because, like I said, he needs reps of the game and how the game will really flow. They're not going to drop back and pass every down in any world unless they're down 30 points, and they still probably trying to run the ball and come back with the running game. I don't think just because you're up, you turn to kind of bully and let's just try to drop back every single play. No, I don't think that's organic. I think you just continue to play offense the way you would. If you're going to run the ball on first down, run it. If you're going to pass on second down, you pass it, but don't just go to an every down air raid pass type of deal.
All right. Let's see if there's any more questions. All right. I'm not seeing any right now.
I got one.
Okay.
For a guy who's played in this rivalry before, DG, do you really think we're gonna? I know, like the teams are different from last year, because I know last year what was the score like 20. How many points did we score against them last year?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's really going to be a blowout, or do you think it's going to be a dogfight based on what you're seeing this season?
I think it'll be a 17-point game. Right, so that's technically 2 scores, but it's a little closer than a blowout, but it's not quite a blowout, but I think they're going to be in control, but it's not going to be so blown away that it's just like, oh man, let's turn and watch something else. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a good football game, but they're going to have supreme control the entire time, especially after the first quarter, right? Because that first wave, Minnesota's got good coaches too. They're going to be able to, do some things based off of what they've seen on film. But once you withstand that initial jolt, I think that they're going to have complete control. Mullings is going to play well. I think Orji's going to play well, and I think that they win by 17 plus.
Yeah, I just saw the score. It was 52-10 last year. I think.
I don't think so.
I don't know if we're capable. I don't think we're capable of scoring 52 points.
You never know, but that's not likely. That just isn't likely.
Yeah, that was a special team. So yeah, I was just wondering, because I know how the Big Ten goes with these interconference rivalries, right? Like most people on the outside will be looking like Michigan versus Minnesota. I'm like, man, have you ever played in the Michigan versus Minnesota game? Like, it's a lot tougher than you think. So that's just,
I have a question, and this is for both of you. I mean, we've all watched a lot of Michigan football. Charles Woodson is one of the GOATs, right? Defensive Heisman. Michigan has had a lot of great cornerbacks since then. Is Will Johnson the next best thing after Charles? Obviously, we've had Jordan Lewis. We've had some great corners here at the University of Michigan. But is Will Johnson that guy? Because it seems like he has the record now for most touchdowns returned or pick sixes in Michigan history with 3. He just seems to make big plays in big games, and that was a Charles Woodson.
Well, you saying, is he that guy, like the best corner ever?
No, since Woodson. Is he the best corner since Woodson?
I was about to say, hold on now, Josh.
Hey, no. I'm not going down. I'm not going down that route. I didn't want to crash the server. All right, I didn't want to crash the server. But no, is he the best corner Michigan's had since Charles Woodson? Because he seems like he always makes a big play in big games.
I think Jordan Lewis had a lot of that. I mean, there's been a lot of good, like you said. We have to really sit down and look, but recency bias would suggest that he could be the best since then. But I know a lot of his picks have come in cover 2, right? Which he does such a great job of playing cover 2, where his job is the flat with the safety over the top, so he's not worried about getting beaten deep, but he still sinks, right? And it gives the illusion that the throw is there, and he just jumps it every single time, and it's very impressive. But I don't know. There's been some really good corners. Now, when you talk about all-encompassing, like his measurables, and plus his ability and all that, yeah, he's up there, right? Because we haven't seen a guy with his length, his speed, and all these different things be able to play since Charles Woodson, because Jordan Lewis wasn't a big guy. He had great range and all that, but he wasn't a big guy, or he's a little on the smaller side. It's a lot. We had a lot of guys. We got a lot of guys. But
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like Leon Hall. Maybe
Leon Hall, really good.
Marlon Jackson.
Yeah, we have some good ones.
Some dudes for sure. But it's just a fun conversation to have, right? I was thinking that after the game on Saturday and seeing Will take that pick six, and you're like, man, this guy has a knack for making these plays, and to see him become this a dominant force out there for the Michigan defense. And I'm like, I haven't seen this since Woodson. And I listen, I'm a big fan of Jordan Lewis. I love everything Jordan Lewis does, but man, I was like, man, I think he might be better than JD.
Yeah, he'll be the highest draft pick for that position from Michigan since Charles Woodson, for sure.
Yeah. Charles went forward to the Raiders, so you would anticipate that will be somewhere in that top 10, depending on how he runs, right?
For sure.
All right. Is there any more questions? I think if not, I think it's time to. I think we're going to be closing out here. Just let's see if there's any more. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, but we do have to give one more shout out to our sponsorships. Of course, we are sponsored by Underground Printing, the Ann Arbor original, since 2004. They've been doing a great job with us all season. So thank you everyone for paying attention. And we got the promo here on the screen. You got to go there for all your Michigan merchandise. I believe they're doing they got the season t-shirt. They make all the t-shirts from Michigan. So it's a great product. Make sure you go online and get it. And they do have some brick and mortar stores around Ann Arbor.
Nice. Hey, look like we might have one more question in the chat. I want to hear DG answer.
Okay.
Are there any concerns with pass blocking?
There was some leakage, but like I talked about, it was because the obvious passing situations, right? When you put offensive linemen, and I'm just telling you, I don't want to. It's not just Michigan's offensive linemen. It's all offensive linemen. You put guys in obvious situations against talented other football players. You got to remember, offensive linemen are a disadvantage, right? They're bigger, not as quick, not as agile against these defensive linemen like Josiah Stewart, who is unbelievable, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you put them at that disadvantage, it's a little tougher, right? So when you give the defense something else where they think it might be a run, they can't just rush the passer, and now those big guys can engage. And when they engage, now they're at an advantage. And so I think that the pass blocking will be fine. Obviously, we have to wait and see, but with more variety in the play call, and I think that it's going to give them a chance to kind of get a jump on the defensive line and give Orji a little more time.
Looks like we have one more question if you're up for it.
All right.
We got, do you think Donovan Edwards gets more targets in the passing game?
I think that he will, but I don't think it will be necessarily downfield passing. I think it'll be more screen, right? Gadget type passing, at least to start, just because you want Alex Orji throwing the receivers. And as talented as Donovan Edwards is as a pass catcher down the field, we want to see receivers getting a chance to catch the ball from Alex Orji as he tries to develop, right? You don't want him to try to be super fine with the throw because he's throwing to a running back. Just receivers just have more range. I think that he'll get more pass opportunities in like the screen game and things like that, but not necessarily downfield passing just yet.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up from our questions from the viewership. Guys, I want to say, first of all, thank you for being welcoming to me.
Thank you, man.
I know I had big shoes to fill with Sam. We wish him nothing but the best. Obviously, dealing with his situation with his family, prayers and thoughts with him. But man, it was great opportunity here to work with you guys. It's a great show to watch, and I'll be watching from afar again. But
make sure because you Sam now send us our check. We want it from you. Yep.
Look for it in the mail. Make
sure you get it. Make sure you get him to send him yours too. Send yours too.
Yeah, I got you.
Appreciate you, baby.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.